If there's one person in God's Word that I think they've made more movies about outside of Christ than any other, it would have to be the person of Moses. I mean, he is a colorful historical figure, which we read about in the book of Exodus. I mean, born a Hebrew, raised in Pharaoh's household, only to flee from Pharaoh's household, only to come back to Pharaoh's household some 40 years later as an old man and demand that Pharaoh allow the Israelites to leave Egypt, and then of course later on in his life, he's the person who gets the 10 Commandments on top of Mount Sinai. But I think of all the stuff that's said about Moses in the book of Exodus, what really stands out for me is all the stuff that's said about Pharaoh. And here's what I mean. In the face of overwhelming physical evidence that the God of the Israelites really is the one true God, Pharaoh still refuses to acknowledge it. I mean, God calls down the plague of blood, of frogs, of dead animals, of hail, of flies, of locusts, and of course this culminates in the firstborn Egyptian males in all of Egypt, including Pharaoh's own son, being killed. Now, Pharaoh obviously allows the Israelites to leave at that time, but when they're on their way out, Pharaoh has second thoughts and pursues them with his army, only then to finally have his army annihilated. And I guess that just harks back to our situation, that like Pharaoh's will, we have that same kind of will in us. And it is a daily battle to give ourselves over to God's will in thought, word, and deed. I mean, I think one of our number one prayers have to be, your will be done. And indeed, in the Lord's Prayer, it's, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. But thanks be to what God through his Son Jesus Christ did, because when Christ came into the world, his death and resurrection trumped Satan's will. And in so doing, the free offer of salvation is now available to those who accept it. God bless you both.